How's it going, guys? My name is Mike. This is All Things Fish, and thanks for tuning in. Now, several months ago, I made a video talking about this little guy right in here, which, if you watched the video before, which I'll link up there, you'll recognize as the Odyssea Clean 100 Surface Skimmer, more or less. And what this is, a quick rundown, it's a clear plastic housing with a small power head and a floating weir, basically, with a spray bar that you can see here. And what it does is it skims any protein or debris floating on the surface of the tank, catches it in a small piece of foam or filter type material, and then that power head sprays water across the tank. Now, in the video before, I told you that I was going to use it to create some surface agitation across the top, which you can see here, to increase both surface agitation, to increase gas exchange, as well as remove any surface film that might exist. Now, I've been running it for a few months. Let's take a look and see what we think. Alright, so we've been running this Odyssea Clean 100. It's labeled as an aquarium filter with a surface skimmer. More or less, it's just utilized as a surface skimmer itself. Again, clear housing, small power head, the weir, overflow, and then the spray bar itself. Now here it is set up in the tank. You can see that I have the output angled up to increase surface agitation a little bit. For the sake of clarity, I'm going to go ahead and tilt this down a little bit so we can see a little bit better. And you can see how this floating weir makes sure that you're skimming right across the top of the surface. Now you'll notice a few things that are a little bit different from when I first set it up. You can see that I am running a single piece of the two pieces of filter type media that were in there. Now, here's the other piece, and I'll tell you why. This is very fine, this is pretty fine, but a slightly more coarse. I found that with two pieces in there, it just got clogged up with too much debris, even though I do regular water changes on the tank. And as a result, since it was trying to pull water through a bunch of clogged up surface filter media, it was unable to do so, and it would more or less lose suction with the float overflow itself, and then you're losing your skimming capability. So I went down to a single piece of that foam filter type media. Also, you'll notice that I removed the spray bar. Now, this is on a 125 gallon tank, so I don't need to disperse or diffuse that flow any. So by removing the spray bar, I was able to actually reduce the restriction on the output, which allowed more draw through that pump and actually more water flow. Now what happens with this spray bar, as you can see, it's clear, which when it's clean looks good in the tank. However, you can see on one end that it does attract some algae. Now it has a good amount of water flow through there, and it's close to the light, so this is going to happen. One of the drawbacks to this being made out of a clear material is that it not only grows that algae, but it shows the algae really well. So that's a little bit aesthetically unpleasing. Now, do I wish it was black? I don't know. The clear looks good. When it's clean, the black would blend in a little bit. As you can see here, I'm not super worried about aesthetics most of the time with these canister filter tubes running across the back. Now, another problem I found is that since this grows algae, these little holes in the spray bar tends to plug up. Now what this does is it restricts the output of that pump, and seeing as how it's a fairly small pump moving the water, it again is unable to create enough draw to pull the actual overflow weir down to create that surface skimming effect, and ultimately more or less renders this thing just about useless. So let's get down to it. Now, you know that I only paid about $15 for this, again, Odyssey Clean 100 Surface Skimmer. Now, I purchased it knowing that it was cheap, and I purchased knowing that it would only serve one purpose. And overall, I would say for $15, it serves that purpose well. And this is on a 125, and it does just fine. As you can see, the surface film that was in the previous video is completely gone, which is great. Now, in order to do that and to do it efficiently without having to clean this thing every day, whether it's the algae itself that might build up, plant material, debris in that filter media, it did take some modifications. Now, I'll tell you what I would do and I plan to do to run this a little bit more efficiently in the future. I do still want to run some sort of type of mechanical media to catch any of that floating debris or plant pieces or detritus that happens to be floating about, because I do want to catch that in that media and remove it from the tank. If you didn't have that media in there, those small pieces of debris would get chopped up into fine pieces of debris. They would scatter about in the tank, which is going to result in decaying organics and a variety of other enzymes, proteins that will actually trigger algal growth in your tank. Now, obviously, plant a tank like this, that's not what you want. So we do want to run some type of mechanical media in this to catch those pieces. What I plan on doing is using some coarse foam as opposed to this real fine material that came with this filter, and that should still catch the majority of that debris while not restricting the intake on that pump, so that we are maximizing both our filter output and our surface skimming capabilities. Now, as you saw, the actual spray bar itself does develop algae, and it does plug up with plant material if you don't have that filter media in there. I ran it without the filter media, and bits and pieces of floating plant or debris did eventually clog up those holes in the spray bar, as they are fairly small. So when you clog up those holes, you reduce your output, and ultimately you reduce your skimming capability, and that defeats the whole purpose of adding such a device to your tank. Big picture, is it worth the 15 bucks, and is it effective? I will say yes, it's effective, with the caveat that it may take either regular cleaning, as in several times throughout the month, or some modifications such as swapping out the medium or removing the spray bar entirely and just running a single output tube. So for 15 bucks, it's effective, it does its job, and over the course of a few months, other than it getting dirty and reducing the output and skimming capability over time, I'd say it's worth the $15. So would I recommend it? If you have a problem where you consistently have a surface film in your tank, or you're just looking to add some surface agitation and clean things up a little bit, I'd recommend it for the mine. $15, that's well within most people's budget, and if you find that it's useless, you're not really out a whole lot of money. Maybe it works better on a smaller tank for you. At the end of the day, while I would recommend it for somebody seeking a solution that this is designed for, as I talked about in the first video and I touched on in this video, I would recommend it, but it may not be the best product on the market out there for what you're trying to achieve. Now, if you have any questions regarding this product or other products that I utilize in my tanks, feel free to comment below or email me, mike.allthingsfish@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in. I look forward to talking to you guys next time. Have a great day. You made it to the end of the video. Thanks for sticking around. I do appreciate it. And on that note, you guys mean a lot to me. The whole goal of this channel and my intention of creating the channel and uploading content and doing the live streams and offering the quick fish tips is to hopefully not only teach one person one thing in each video, hopefully more, obviously, but if I can teach one person one thing with a video, then that's a success. But it's also to motivate and inspire you guys to go out and maybe try something that was out of your comfort zone. Whether that's plants like this, CO2, a reef eventually, who knows? And I've had great feedback over the past couple years, and I can't thank you guys enough. This channel wouldn't be as successful as it is without your guys' interaction, whether that's comments on my videos, emails, messages on Discord, or posting in maybe the Get Gills Facebook group. And they mean the world to me. It inspires me to keep going, doing what I'm doing, and lets me know that, hey, maybe I'm on the right track and doing something productive that's helpful to the hobby and hopefully helps progress the hobby in a positive direction. I just wanted to take a moment at the end of this video to tell you guys thank you. Thank you for everything you do. Whether it's giving up some time out of your day to watch the video, hitting the thumbs up, or sharing this video with a friend that maybe was looking for some help and you thought it might be useful. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Once again, thanks and have a fabulous day.